everyone. I'm here today to talk to you about the B Craigs Country Park off-site construction proposal and sustainability, and how do those two things fit together. First of all, I've put up on the screen the Sustainable Development Goals, which were 17 goals that were set to transform our world on our journey to sustainable growth. I think it's worthwhile just reminding ourselves what those were and what they were set to do, and perhaps taking a look at some of them that might be of most relevance to a project like B Craigs. Country parks have become even more important in the current situation of COVID, where people need access to green open space to be able to undertake their daily exercise. But country parks have always been, in our historical societies, very important for all levels of society to provide that access into the countryside. So I think if we look through the Sustainable Development Goals, there's quite a few that you could say would be relevant. The ones that jump out at me are good health and well-being. There's a potential, a bit like the project that you guys are working on, for it to provide quality education, whether that's for construction or whether that's to do with land management or biodiversity, and again through kind of economic growth. There is the potential to use our country parks to provide affordable and clean energy, and I'll come back to that later on. There's the potential for country parks to look at industry, innovation and infrastructure, and I think that has become more and more important over recent years, looking at how they can change and adapt to become more flexible in their use, but also to provide facilities as our society changes and how we live our life changes as well. They're a big part of sustainable cities and communities. Some of the most successful cities and communities in the world have some of the largest green space close to them. Again, it's about this accessibility for all, reducing inequalities. Life on land, protecting our country parks, protecting these areas, protecting the biodiversity that they provide, also helps in our strive forward for sustainable growth and development, to ensure that that balance of the built environment and nature is maintained. So when you look at the B Craigs Country Park itself, you can see that part of the wider project that we are looking at just now is how do you take all the amazing facilities that they've currently got in the park and connect those up better. And I think the key thing with sustainability is connection. It's a holistic approach. It's making sure that it's not necessarily focusing on just economic growth or the people that are visiting the park or the environment, but trying to tie all of those together. And I think this is particularly important when you're considering the construction, the nature, the type of the building that you're going to look at for your modular construction. I think the key things to consider when you're looking at it from a sustainability perspective are energy, are how does the proposed building interact with its surrounding environment? Can you bring the outside in rather than it being a standard box? The other key thing is looking at future proofing. How can you develop this building to provide an area that is flexible in use, is future proofed in terms of its consumption, in terms of its maintenance requirements, and how can you still make it a thing of beauty that people will want to come and see? And I think you've got a real opportunity here with the slightly different approach with the modular construction to come up with something cracking that people will want to come and see, will want to visit for whatever reasons that we've set out, but could also become a bit of an exemplar in Scotland and particularly in West Lothian. Something to keep in mind is that Scotland has a number of similar parks to B Craigs, and if we were able to use this project to come up with a flexible, suitable, sustainable and inclusive idea that provided a really valuable and flexible space for the users of the park, then it's something that could be replicated far and wide. Good luck.